Welcome classmates to Group 13's presentation. Our Thesaurus concerns the hobby of mushroom foraging, and our members are Ron McLeod, Nicholas Ott, Jeffrey Teague, and myself, Antonio Walker. Mushroom foraging as a hobby exists the world over, though many misconceptions exist about fungi in the United States. Though an excellent source of nutrition and a delicious part of any balanced diet, many mushrooms with poisonous and psychoactive effects exist in the wild, and a wanderer or forager not armed with the proper knowledge can do great harm to themselves. Our Thesaurus aims to aid beginners in the world of mushroom hunting gain familiarity with terms, scientific concepts, and various equipment associated with the hobby of mushroom foraging. The Thesaurus specifically targets American hobbyists who want to know more about the various fungi growing around their homes. We also include terms concerning safety and navigation related to hiking and forestry skills. Due to our focus on the outdoor hobby of mushroom foraging, we limited the types of fungi to those found in the wild, rather than those used in the production of commercial foodstuffs such as cheese, wine, and antibiotics. We also included a few famous mycologists for historical reasons, as well as their contributions to the world of mycology and the hobby of mushroom foraging. To better connect with our target audience, we included both scientific terminology and folksonomic terminology. Scientific terms for mushrooms, such as Amanita phalloides for death caps, can be difficult to remember or pronounce. This can lead to issues, however, since many common names for mushrooms vary from region to region. We decided to strike a balance between the common and scientific terms. Relying on scientific terminology works great for mycologists in a laboratory, but mushroom hunters often must rely on visual and morphological clues to determine mushroom species in the field. With this in mind, many terms chosen for our thesaurus deal with the physical attributes of mushrooms and fungi. For this thesaurus, we utilize the conventions established by Aitchison, Gilchrist, and Baldwin to display the relationships between terms. We also followed the general category guidelines from Aitchison et al., including abstract concepts, which was an especially important rule during our facet selection stage. Domain analysis. First, we created a Google Doc, and over the course of about a week, each contributed to it websites, scholarly articles, books, videos, and other material concerning the world of mushroom foraging and mycology. Once we had a sufficient enough list, each of us explored the various domains and went about the work of extracting what we each felt were the important terms from our various sources. We consolidated our terms into the Google Doc and edited the terms down to a digestible list of 100. We then went about the work of the facet analysis. We consulted many mycology and mushroom forager websites, including mushroomobserver.org and the mushroomforager.com. We also consulted some standard books by experts on the subject, including Mushrooms Demystified and All That the Rain Promises and More by David Aurora, A Field Guide to Western Trees by Petrides and Petrides, and Morals by Quo. Though we considered using a thesaurus-specific facet system due to the focus it provides for our thesaurus and concept clusters recognizable to our target users, we ultimately chose to utilize the fundamental facets provided by Aitchison et al. A customized facet system will require too much resource cost, and so for the sake of convenience, we went with the fundamental facets. Once that was decided, we each took 25 terms and sorted them into the fundamental facets on our own, and then posted them to Canvas for feedback and editing. We ended up with a number of terms under the facet living entities and parts and components, since earlier we decided to focus on the morphological attributes of mushrooms. This included terms like annually, caps, fairy rings, stalks, spores, flesh, gills, hosts, mushrooms, edible mushrooms, club fungi, cup fungi, boletes, and others. Then consolidated the faceted term list and moved on to the relationship analysis. The group followed the general practice of identifying those relationships and labeling them with standard relationship indicator labels. Given that the process was iterative, the general approach was to first identify the terms which displayed equivalence, identify the terms which displayed hierarchy, and leave associative relationships for the end. We use Aitchison standards for relationship sorting. RT refers to terms that are associated, NT to describe a term of a more specific topic, BT for terms describing a general topic, SN for more detailed information about terms, UF for non-preferred terms and used to indicate a preferred term has a non-preferred counterpart within the thesaurus. The control of equivalence relationships between terms which are synonyms and lexical variants, for example, is ensured via use in UF entries. The control of hierarchical relationships between terms which are related generically or in a whole part fashion, for example, is guaranteed via BT and NT entries. And the control of associative relationships between terms which are related in the same category, for example, is facilitated via RT entries. Once relationship analysis was completed, we moved on to the final term selection. We ended up with a total of 131 terms, 119 preferred, and 12 non-preferred. First, we had to consider the filing rules, imagined as a post-coordinated thesaurus where users will be able to search with multiple terms. We follow Etchison et al.'s guidelines for arranging terms from a general to specific format to comply with the best practice and provide intuitive experience to our users. For the thesaurus final term selection, we adhered to the standards of American English when it came to spelling and plural forms of noun phrases. We followed the standards definition of exceptions, such as referring to attribute terms in the singular form, such as color and texture. We sought to retain grammatical consistency within the thesaurus, and so limited our adjectives to adjectival phrases, left out prepositional phrases, and incorporated any articles, such as the, in the North American Mycological Society. Much of our thesaurus is made up of simple nouns, such as foragers, mushrooms, entertainment, and noun phrases such as fairy rings, false gills, false morals, and honey mushrooms. Scope notes were included within our alphabetical list to give context for why the term was present in the thesaurus, especially when describing the various types of mushrooms in order to aid mushroom foragers in their escapades. The scope notes for mushrooms were limited to physical descriptions instead of historical information or why a fungus would have a specific name. Generally preferred terms were the scientific name of the mushroom, since this name will transcend any regional varieties. In the final list, we also include a number of practices associated with the hobby, including dyeing, drying, cultivating, and foraging, preferring the active to verb tense. Our classified index utilized mixed notation, which combined numbers and letters much like the Library of Congress classification system. We also utilized expressive notation since it was able to show hierarchical relationships much like the alphabetical index. After the completion of the two index came the introduction, references, and presentation. Though time-consuming and at times difficult, we were able to get everything finished and have a thesaurus ready for the budding mushroom forager. Thank you for viewing our presentation, and happy hunting.